All right, class, so for our first video, we're going to be looking at place value relationships. You guys have done place value in the previous grade, so this shouldn't be foreign to you, but we're going to go over some basics before we dive right into it anyways. Our objective is that I can recognize that in a multi-digit whole number, a digit in one place represents 10 times what it represents in the place to its right. Now remember, a digit is just a number. It's a fancy word for a number. Okay? So if you wanted to read it that way, it says, I can recognize that in a multi-digit whole number, a number in one place represents 10 times what it represents in the place to its right. The essential question and what we're going to talk about today is how can you describe the value of a digit? I found this cute little video for you, so we're going to go ahead and watch it.
Hey guys, it's Todd Misloney here. Every year I share a story about place value that I do with my students to help them learn the different things of place value. And I've got lots of requests to record it, so I'm going to do my best right now to record the same story I tell them. So I want to start by telling you know what, there's a city that is just being started, and the mayor needs to get some people moving into his city. So the first thing a mayor has to do if he wants people to move to his city is he has to build some houses. So the mayor takes some houses, and he doesn't build just one because you don't want just one house. He goes ahead and he builds 4 houses on the first street. And he thinks, you know what, if I can get people to move into those first 4 houses, then I'll be good. And then I can start being an actual mayor of a city with people. And so he builds the houses, and 4 different families move into the houses. And then the mayor realizes, you know what? As my job as mayor, I probably should learn their names because that would be good for me. So when I see them around town, I'll be able to stop and talk to them and know who they are. So the mayor decides to go by each house to meet the people that live at the house. So the mayor walks up to the first house, knocks on the door, and the little boy answers the door. The little boy answers the door, and the mayor says, hi, I'm the mayor. I'm the mayor of the city. I'm just coming around trying to meet everybody. And I just want to know if I could just come and say hello and see who you are and who all lives here. And the boy says, well, hi, it's nice to meet you. And the mayor says, well, what's your name? And the little boy said, oh, well, my name is Tins. And the mayor thinks, okay, that's a unique name. I haven't heard that one before. But okay, we'll go with it. And the mayor said, you know, does anybody else live in the house? And the little boy said, actually, I do have a pet frog. And the mayor said, oh, that's cute. What's the pet frog's name? And the little boy said, oh, the pet frog's name, his name is One. And the mayor thought, okay, that's 2 names now that are very unique names that I've never heard before. And so the mayor says, well, do you have any parents or do you live with your grandparents? Who else lives here? And the boy says, well, only one other person lives here, and that's my mom. And the mayor says, oh, okay, well, what's your mom's name? And the little boy says, oh, well, my mom's name is Hundreds. And the mayor thinks, okay, that's interesting. Well, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you around town. Thanks for sharing all your information with me. And the boy says, thanks and see you later. So the mayor goes to the next house down the street, knocks on the door, and what do you know? A little boy answers the door. And the mayor thinks, well, he looks a little like the last boy, but that's not possible. So the mayor does his whole spiel again. He says, you know, it's good to meet you. I'm the mayor of the city. I'm coming around meeting all the citizens, and I'm trying to get everybody's names. And the little boy says, oh, okay, my name's Tins. And the mayor stops and thinks, okay, that was the name of the last little boy, but okay. And the mayor says, do you have any pets that live in the house? And the little boy says, actually, I do. I have a little frog, and his name is One. Now the mayor's starting to think, okay, this is very interesting. He said, do you live with your parents? And the little boy said, well, I live with my mom. And the mayor said, okay, and her name is? And he said, well, her name's Hundreds. Now the mayor's convinced that there's probably some kind of trick that's being played on him by this little boy running from house to house. So the mayor says, thank you, great to meet you, have a good day, I will talk to you later. So the mayor goes to the third house, and he's wondering, what was up with that? That was weird. And when he knocks on the door to the third house, a little boy answers the door, who looks just like the little boy from the other house. Now, what the mayor doesn't know is that these are actually different boys. They just look exactly the same. So the mayor's starting to get angry. So the mayor looks at the little boy and says, guess, let me guess. He said, your name is Tins. And the little boy's kind of scared. He's like, yes, how did you know that? He said, well, I'm the mayor. It's my job to know everything. And let me guess, you have a little pet frog and his name is One? And the mayor said, the little boy said, actually, I do. So I do have a pet frog, and that's weird. And the mayor says, oh, and let me guess what else. You have a mom, and her name is Hundreds. Now the boy's a little freaked out because he's never met the mayor before. He has no idea who he is. So the boy slowly takes a few steps back and closes the door quickly and locks it behind him because he doesn't know what's going on. So now the mayor is infuriated. And so he walks by the last house and he beats on the door and he's beating it. He's saying, answer the door, little boy. I know that you are playing a trick on me. I know what's going on. Like I said, these boys are not really the same. And so there's a little boy hiding in the kitchen, looking around the corner, thinking, what is going on? Why is this crazy man beating at my door? And the man's just beating at the door going, little Tins, answer the door. I know you're there. And the boy thinks, oh my gosh, he knows my name. What am I going to do? Mom's not home. He says, I know you're sitting in there with your pet frog. And his name is One. And the little boy thinks, oh man, he knows everything about me, but he can't know my parents. And the mayor says, answer the door. I'm going to talk to your mom, Hundred. Now the boy is completely freaked out because the mayor, or this guy at the door, knows everything about him. So the boy never answers the door, and the mayor ends up leaving. The mayor goes back to his office, and he's sitting in his office thinking, okay, I just met 4 houses, and they are 4 boys and 4 moms and 4 frogs, and the frogs' names are all ones, and the boys' names are all tens, and the moms' names are all hundreds. He said, if they really are different people, I need to figure out a way to tell them apart. Because if I go to the mall, I don't want to see a little boy and say, hey, tens, and there'll be other little boy tens that are all answering me. He said, so what can I do that would help me tell them apart? Then he realizes, I need to have their last names. So he goes back to the houses again. He stops at the first house, knocks on the door, and little Tins answers the door again. And the mayor says, well, I'm back. I didn't get your last name when I was here earlier, and I need to go ahead and get that. And the boy says, well, we don't really tell anybody our last name. And the mayor thought, oh, here we go again. And the mayor said, really? Why don't you tell anybody your last name? And the boy said, well, we never use our last name. And the mayor said, oh, so you still have one, but you never use it. And the boy said, exactly. And so the mayor said, well, what is your last name? And the little boy said, well, our last name is Eunice. And the mayor thought, okay. And so then he says, thank you, goes to the next house, knocks on the door. Of course, the little boy answers. And the mayor says, hey, I'm here to get your last name. I didn't get it last time, so I was wondering if I could get it. And the boy said, sure. Our last name is Thousands. And the mayor thought, okay, well, that was easy to get out of him. And he goes to the next door, knocks on the house. This boy's a little nervous. He just cracks the door open because last time the mayor kind of freaked him out a little bit. And the mayor says, you know, I didn't get your last name. You just shared with me the information. I'm sorry about last time and the way I treated you. And the boy said, well, our last name is Millions. And the mayor says, oh, okay, thanks. Have a great day. And so he goes to the last house, knocks on the door. Nobody answers. Knocks on the door again. Nobody answers. And the mayor kind of peeks through the window and notices that the little boy is hiding in the kitchen. And this little boy, you remember from earlier, is freaked out about this crazy guy who keeps knocking on his door. So the mayor's yelling from the door, come on, all I need to know is your last name, and I'll leave you alone. Just share with me that I'm the mayor. I'm trying to put all the stuff for the city together. It's all good. So the boy leans around the corner and he says, our last name is Billions. And the mayor says, thanks, and leaves. And the mayor goes back to his office, and he's looking at this big picture right here that he has on his wall, and he says, okay, so the first family on the street, their last name is Eunice, but they never use it, so I can't ever call them by their last name. Second family is Thousands, third is Millions, fourth is Billions. And so he puts this big chart on the wall, and he realizes, you know what, I need to go ahead and make sure I label everything. So no matter where I am with the frog, I know that their name, or the frog's name, is going to be Ones. And so whether it's 1 million, 1 billion, 1,000, whatever, I know that the frog's last name is Ones. And then I have the boy's last name, and no matter what family I'm talking about, the boy's first name is always Tins. His last name depends on where he lives on the street. And then in every house I have a mom, and her name, no matter what house I'm talking about, is Hundreds. And so if I'm ever dealing with the third person in the family, and I always say the name Hundreds, and then their last name. And we've got to make sure that when we're talking about a certain member of a family, that we say their first name and their last name, because you know people get really upset when you say their names wrong. So if we're talking about the first person in the family, That's the pet frog, and his name is Ones, and then his last name depends on where he lives on the street. And so we can easily think about this like place value, because every place value spot has 3 spots in each family. And so no matter what number we're talking about, whether it's the first number of the frog, the second number of the boy, or the third number of the mom, we can read that number really easily by reading their first name, which would be ones, tens, or hundreds, and by reading their last name, depending on the family, the house that they live on the street.
Okay, so keep that in mind, and I hope that helps you a little bit, because Ms. Fernley uses houses as a way to get you to think of place value as well. So I thought you'd like that. All right, so let's take a look at what place value means with base 10 blocks. You guys have worked with these in the past. They're the little blocks that you put together. You start off with the small little one. That's your 1, okay? And then you put 10 of those together. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Do it in the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 10 of those gives us 1 of these yellow rods. Okay? Then we do that again. And how many are in the block? Okay, the block is going to be our hundreds block. This is our ones. This is our tens. Okay, this is going to be our hundreds block. Okay, so if I was to put 10 of these golden rods together, then that would give me 100. Okay, why would it be 100? Well, if you think of what makes up these blocks, you'd be able to see that they're actually made up of these tens, right? Oh, well, I don't want to clone that, so let's do that away. All right, so if I was to take these 10 blocks, clone them, and I put them here, right? So basically, I'm going to be putting them all across here. Not working for me. Okay, so I'm just going to fill all of these up. With the red ones, right? Because the red little blocks are what make up the yellow blocks. And then the yellow strips make up what is in the blue square, okay? So if I was to do this, I would have 100 little squares. Not lined up right, but that's okay. So I would have 100 little squares. So you can think of it as 100 little squares would equal this one big block, or it could be 10 of the 10s. Either way, it's the same amount of block. If I took 10 of the yellow strips and put 10 of them together, that's going to give me 100. Or I can count all of these little individual squares, which Ms. Fernley's not going to do, and that would still equal 100. Okay? So you'll come familiar with those. You'll have your ones, your little itty-bitty squares. Put 10 of those together, and that makes us a yellow square. I mean, the yellow rectangle. The yellow rectangle, put all those together, and that can make a big, flat hundreds. Okay? All right. So this is a thousand. Okay? So same thing. I would take, these are my hundreds, right? These blue flat ones are my hundreds. And if I was to take 10 of those, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I take 10 of those, it would give me a cube, okay? And this cube is 1,000. Okay, so 100 times 10, if I did that, that's going to give me 1,000, right? Okay, so it's basically telling me if I took 1,000 of these little red squares, They'd be 1,000 here, 1,000 of them here. Okay? So do you notice the pattern? When we go from here to here, it's times 10. When we go from here, let's use this arrow again, here to here, that's it, times 10. Okay? And then if we go from here to here, it's times 10. Every time you move up a place value, it is times 10. Okay? Very important that you remember that. That's super, super, super important. Every time you move a place value, it's times 10. All right. So I told you that I like using houses for my place value, which is the same thing as the story that we watched. This is my units house, right? This is going to be my thousands. And this will be my millions. Next year, you'll add a house on to billions, but we don't have to worry about that this year. And each of my house has 3 rooms. Okay? The story used people, I use rooms. Whichever one works best for you is the one that you're going to use. So in the units, we have our ones house. Our ones room. I'm sorry. First room is the ones room. Second room is the tens. Okay? Third room is the hundreds. Okay, then we go over to our thousands house. Well, our thousands house has 3 rooms also. First room is the ones. Second room is the tens. And the third room is the hundreds. Okay? Then we go over to our millions house, and they have the same thing. We have first room is the 1 million. Second room is the 10 million. Third room is the 100 million. Pretty simple, right? If you think of it as how many people are in a house or how many rooms are in a house, think of how many bedrooms you have in your house. Okay? That's a good way for you to be able to recognize what place value is. You just need to know their last names or the names of your house. All right, so here's another video. I believe this is a song that'll help you remember that every time you move a place value, you're going to do what? You're going to times 10. Take a look.
The digits, each have a name. Memorize them, understand them as the game. We start at the decimal, to the left we move. Each place is 10, to multiplying them we prove. The digits, they fit into type. Greater to the left and lesser to the right. Starting at the decimal, sandwich in between. 0 to the empty places having the seen. Well, the digits, each one means a lot. You can't leave them out of a place that is spot. Well, even big numbers, each comes a word. 1,000 million billion commas having either word. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 1,000, billion, 10 billion, 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 10 billion, billion. Let's take it to the right of the decimal point. You've got tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Smaller than a 1 with a TH. Digits, each have a name. Memorize them, understand them as the game. We start at the decimal, to the left we move. Each place is 10, bigger, multiplying them we prove. The digits, they fit into type. Greater to the left and lesser to the right. Starting at the decimal, sandwich in between. 0 to the left, it places having the seen. Well, the digits, each one means a lot. You can't leave them out of the place that is spot. Well, big numbers, each comma the word. 1,000 million billion commas having you heard. Word 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 1,000, billion, 10 billion, billion, million, 10 billion, billion. Let's take it right. with a TH. Smaller than a 1 with a TH.
Okay, so that's a cool song for you guys to play over and over again. You'll notice, though, that it did talk about decimal point, which we will go over towards the end of the year. So don't stress if you don't really know that. But you can also listen to this video more than one time, and that way when we do learn about it, you will already know. All right, so that is our first video that we're going to be doing for homework. And not too bad. This is our homework assignment. So at the end of every video, you'll have your homework assignments. And this one is, what is the value of the underlined digit in the number 153,658? How does the value compare to the underlined digit in 326,365? Okay, I want you to explain to me what the value of each of those digits and how they compared to each other. They're obviously in different places. So think about that. That's your WSQ. You will write that in your notebook. And you'll also finish up your practice book page, which I don't think we have here because we don't have our curriculum yet. So go ahead and finish up your practice book page, and we will see you in the morning.